This summer I organized my first independent travel abroad, and I expected a lot from this journey because I didn't know what exactly was in store for me. To be honest, I was afraid of differences between nations. But it turned out that we are not so different and people are similar, and it doesn't matter where do they live. The only thing I noticed that is a little bit different attitude to work. I was walking in a small town in Augsburg, Bavaria, and I missed the train to my city, and the next train was only in the morning, and I had to spend the night at the station. I hope my parents will see the speech because they think it was a perfect journey without any flaws. The station had some cafes and shops which were opened at 5, 6 a.m. Trying not to fall asleep at 3 a.m., I noticed that staff had already come in the shops and cafes. They washed windows, baked rolls, and everything was ready for the opening. And it was 2 hours before the opening. Later I found out that they are not paid for early coming. It goes without saying. They had a different attitude to work and to task God. They were ready to do their job slowly but ahead of time. Now tell me, how often did you see Russian came 2-3 hours before work? Personally, I haven't ever seen. Even the head of the company Avtovaz, Bo Anderson, admits that he always gives only 1 day for his workers to perform the task. Why do they need more time? He asked. These Russians will do everything at the last moment. But this is our national peculiarity, isn't it? Our productivity is very high exactly at the last closing at the closing date. Despite of the differences between us were similar in the fact that the introduction of new technologies are difficult everywhere, in any country. The problem of young specialists attracting the necessity to modernize existing systems, retraining of employees, and reduced efficiency after that. This is the main problem for any chief who wants to involve a new technology into existing system. I'm a final year student of civil engineering and construction faculty, and I concern myself with of new technology in my profession. One of them is BIM. Nobody teaches it at my university, and I have to learn it by myself using information from the internet. And today I want to show you what is the BIM and how it could change the life of architect, builder, designer or developer. BIM was developed both in Europe and USA in parallel. The term BIM is an acronym of Building Information Modeling. I'm sure you have already heard about it. This is a new technology of designing buildings and structures in which digital 3D model of the building appeared first. Let us start by considering the facts. BIM technology is not new. Originally, BIM was used in the 1970s for the construction of airport Heathrow in London. The main peculiarity of BIM is that using BIM you can track all life cycles of building, beginning from design to estate management, then up to reconstruction and demolition. BIM is so popular abroad because it's interesting and helpful to all participants of construction. It's beneficial for the investors, for the developers, for the operation organization and for the state expert examination of planning documentation. Firstly, the technology unites interests from all sides. Let me explain further. Over 20 years old, CAD technology was penetrated at plenty of manufacturers in the world, and in Russia too, of course. But it's not surprising that now it's already obsolete technology. We haven't found the way to use it, and it's already obsolete. Progress is moving very quickly. BIM is developing actively in Europe. Recent projects in France and Germany could prove this fact easily. Transformation in legislation system led to use BIM in some other countries on the state level, and if you won't get a state contract, you must work only at BIM. Just look at the slide. Finland uses BIM on the state level from 2007, USA from 2008, Norway, Singapore, United Kingdom, all of them already marked BIM against CAD systems. Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Energy in Germany support not only BIM, but also BIMit project, which is pointing to support to small construction companies and project offices. And where is Russia in this list? Actually, Russia has some problems with involvement of BIM. People are against because if they learn BIM, it will be so boring. Look, they already wouldn't make stupid mistakes. What a pity, right? Yeah, I know, right now somebody will say, hey, is it a famous picture from internet, isn't it? But I had show it if I hadn't seen it on the Russian construction sites with my own. In our country, right now, we can see some move to the BIM on the official level. Since this year, Mosgor Expertise started to adopt BIM models along with the usual projects. Year after year, the information about BIM becomes more. Our inland market is a necessity of modernized information technology in construction step by step. BIM technology implies not simple 3D design with length, breadth, and height. To the usual data can be addition at time and an estimated cost. As a result of it, BIM can create more transparency of estimated cost. Unfortunately, it's one of the problems of involved BIM in Russia, because in fact, this transparency can't give an illegal money, so it's not profitable to some owners. It would be unfair not to mention that fact that BIM technology can save the time for 40–50% and can cut the probability of error for human factor principles for 20%. It has been made possible by the fact that the program can modernize specification sheet and detection of collisions. As an example, during the map design. By the way, it's one of the most strong points of BIM. Tightly coupled with BIM Persist is PDM, Product Data Management, and PLM, Product Lifecycle Management. Let's look at the projects of our colleagues from other countries who already use BIM in practice. It's the building of the High School of Music, the New World Symphony in Miami, USA, architect Frank Gehry. And this is a new building of Museum of Art in Denver, USA. It's important to keep in mind and understand clearly that BIM is not CAD. It's a principle new approach to design. It's not a drawing board like an AutoCAD. Introduce of BIM can be easily and fast. Experience has shown that you need 3 or 4 of pilot designs firstly. Recently I was looking for a job and people asked me, like a student, which paper topic of my bachelor project. I answered that I want to design a building with BIM. They were astonishment. Why? Why do you learn it? After all, it's so difficult and like an utopia in Saratov. I said if I don't study BIM now, I'll must study it later doubtless. I'm sure for 100% it will be necessity. Maybe after 5 years, maybe after 10, but it will be. But the software license costs around 3 million rubles, continued Mashiv. Yes, 3 million rubles. But what exactly does it mean for a big building company? The construction of 3 rooms flat or 2 of 1 room flat? But instead a whole department in the company can work for 2 times faster and without a lot of errors. They can design 2 projects in a month against 1. All we are and understand about rapid time to value in this project. In addition, for all of these complications, the technology is opening a huge prospects in my profession, and I'm really glad to live in this time and to be a part of this progress. To draw the conclusion, one can say that while I'm young and naive, I want to live in the best environment, in the best city with a good infrastructure and the wages. And I understand clearly that nobody will do it for me just like that. There is no way in expect of everyone on his workplace will be attended to honest work, will be work hard. And while I believe in it, I will be take on applications for work, learn more, and obtain further insight. Thank you.